military, top tier CEOs, and me. Be sure to follow Scott on his YouTube channel and the Behavior Panel's YouTube channel. Also, I'm going to just say it right off the bat. One of the reasons I love to talk to you about Harry and Meghan specifically is because you have a history in the entertainment industry and you know you've seen so much when it comes to marketing and branding, and you might know why they're making some of the decisions that they're making. And we're really going to get into that when we look at Prince Harry's trip to Canada. So thank you for being so knowledgeable.
All right, so let's get into this because this whole Harry and Meghan at the Dodgers game saga is so much messier and so much more revealing than people realize on the surface. It wasn't just a cute married couple going to watch baseball. It was a PR move, a branding play, a reaction to the Andrew scandal, a possible attempt to test the waters for a royal retain, and, depending on who you ask, an example of clinical level narcissism in action. And that's exactly why this story blew up in the royal watching world. It's never just they went to a game.
Oh, you're welcome.
Did you see any headlines last week about Harry and Meghan at the Dodgers game?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all saw that.
I know. I mean, there's this, I'll just go ahead and paint this picture for you because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about this specific storyline that's playing out in the royal watching community. There are claims that Harry and Meghan are trying to get back into the fold. I mean, when are they not? But they're calling it Project Thaw. We saw it, an example of it, I guess, was when Prince Harry recently went to visit King Charles in the UK when he was there for the Well Child event. Some are even speculating that Meghan is trying to reconnect with Princess Catherine. And when I saw them at the Dodgers game, again, PR and marketing hat for you, when I saw them at the Dodgers game, I thought, ill advised considering everything that's going on with Prince Andrew to respect this historical moment of Andrew having his title stripped. Wouldn't you kind of lay low instead of sitting in front of Magic Johnson in the dugout, basically at a Dodgers game in the midst of the World Series? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, no, any press is good press.
You
So
always
any,
say that. I actually
yeah.
knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
And you're dealing with narcissism at its highest, not its highest level, but she's a clinical narcissist. It's really high. So anytime she gets a chance for a lot of people to look at her, of course she's going, especially since she can say, was it the owner that invited him? Is that who put him in there?
Mm-hmm.
So she can say the owner, that's why we're going. We got owner, and she can talk about that, and everybody's going to know that. So again, that's totally about making them from a social perspective, look like they're still on top because they've got that going on.
That's so funny that you say that because my initial reaction, and I think I said it in the UK when I was asked about it, was they're sitting there because they want you to know that they have friends in high places. And that's basically what you just said, that they're just trying to remind the world that they are relevant.
Exactly.
But they're booed. Let's watch the boos. Let's watch it. I think we're going to watch it twice through. Can we focus on Meghan the first time?
Mm-hmm.
And then after Meghan, can we look at Prince Harry? Do you mind if we do it that way?
Yeah, that's great.
Sorry, that's a short clip. Maybe I should have slowed it. You were always slowing it down on your channel. Maybe I should have slowed it down. Did you get a sense of Meghan's reaction? I mean, all press is good press. So is she just happy that the camera's on her, even if there are boos being hurled in her direction?
Yeah, and that usually, if you notice at the games when they put that camera on famous people when they're at the games or football games and things like that, they all wave or they make the little heart thing that everybody makes, that kind of thing. Not her. She sort of froze up in there. Now, whether they are, I couldn't tell. I've listened to that 1,000 times. I can't tell if they're actually booing them or not because is it the Blue Jays? I don't know anything about sports, but is it the Blue Jays? Is that their name? The team
Yeah, the
name?
Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah.
Maybe they were yelling blue or Blue Jays or something
Nice
because
try.
blue
Nice
go
try.
longer. Now,
Well,
believe me,
let me tell
I'm
you
not
what. Well,
picking
let
it
me tell you why
either.
they might have been booed. It's because Megan's been seen in hundreds of pictures wearing a Blue Jays cap because she used to live in Toronto while she filmed Suits. So, if you looked up Megan in any sort of baseball association, it would actually be with the Blue Jays. And then Harry's father is the King of Canada. And so you would assume that Harry would be there rooting for the Canadian team, a country he visits less than or a week later. So perhaps the boos are from Blue Jays fans that are thinking, what are you doing in the Dodgers dugout?
With the Sussexes, every single public outing is loaded with intention. Whether the intention is smart or delusional is a whole other question. So let's roll up our sleeves and dig in. Apparently, we're calling it Project Thaw now, because of course they need a project name. Because nothing with this couple can ever just be something normal. It always has to be dramatic branding. So the theory is that Harry and Meghan, after spending years torching the royals, are now suddenly trying to do a soft, subtle, very Hollywood-style reconciliation tour to get back in good with Charles and maybe even Kate.
Okay.
I'm just here to offer the other side. I love how you're like, I'm not sure it's booze. I didn't hear it until I listened to it on my computer, and then I thought those are booze.
Oh, okay. Because boos last a long time, and you get that low ooh, you get, especially if it's guys booing. It might have been women booing, I don't know. But when guys do, it's that low boo, that hateful sounding boo,
Yeah.
But it might have been, it could have been, I don't know. But I got to call them. I can see them and hear them. So I can't swear it's booing, but most people think it is. So, and you'd think I'd have to be on that side of it, but I'm not, I can't tell. And I was a professional
Were you a
listener.
professional booer?
I was a professional booer. Yes. Back in the old days. I'm a Capricorn.
uh, well, so in Megan's face, what you take a well, yeah, Jeff Goldblum does the funny when Jeff Goldblum goes on the jumbotron, he hams it up. He's adorable. Taylor Swift sometimes has fun with it, sometimes she ducks and doesn't want the attention. But you're right, they don't react in the way you might expect them to, especially if they're so excited to be there. Like Megan posts an Instagram reel after this where she's getting her foot long and living the dream,
Mhm.
and you just would expect a little more enthusiasm versus like,
Yeah. I didn't see that part.
ah.
All I saw was the booing part. So,
All right, well, let's just take a look at Harry for a second then and see if you recognize anything with I because I had initially thought I had seen with Harry discomfort, but then he smiles. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. There's like a little weird crease in his mouth that I felt like might be discomfort. And then he smiles.
I think he's probably looking. I think that's when he recognizes himself or sees them on the thing or whatever. The what do you call it? Jumbotron.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that smile kicks in is when he sees that. So he may just be looking around. I don't even think they're under the impression they're being booed yet, or
Mm.
if it even does dawn on them. They might have had been told that, but then she wouldn't have acted like that if that was true. So maybe she thought, I'm okay. I'll make this call then. I'll think she was under the impression they were being booed because of the way she behaved. And I don't think he's the smartest guy in the world. Not that he would miss that, not, has anything to do with it, but I don't think he really caught on to it yet. I don't. I feel like he was there, but he wasn't there.
Yeah. I don't feel like this is a place where he would feel comfortable. He
Yeah.
tends to avoid. I mean, he I've seen him at the Super Bowl before. He went with Eugenie years ago, but we don't typically see him at American sporting events, and especially if he is truly concerned about security, this does not seem like a place where he's going to thrive. I talked to Tom Bauer, who wrote this book called Revenge, that's really good about Harry and Meghan, and he's got a new one coming out next year. And he said that we never see Meghan Markle defeated, that, she, even when she fails, she still pops up and she wants us to think that she's winning. And is that narcissism? Can you walk me through the ability to be able to fake it in that way? And how exhausting physically is that on the body to continue to try to keep that up and to hide that you're to hide any sort of disappointment?
Well, from a psychological perspective, it's kind of tough to do, but there are certain kinds of people that can do that. No matter what you throw at them, they come up smiling. Because in the long term, what you're seeing from a publicity standpoint, in the long term, all you're doing is see them smile and all that, and you don't focus on, oh, look, they got her. Look at this, because she looks like that. Because that's what I'm doing on my channel. We look for everything, body language wise, and we would hear it like we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to do that, but it's important to keep that just keep smiling attitude, because that's what gets you through a lot of stuff. And maybe that helps you talk yourself through those things as well. It sounds kind of weird, but it's a lot of people do that, especially in politics, because the 50% of the people hate you and 50% of the people just think you're the most wonderful thing ever. They're seeing that in New York now. No matter what happens, that Mom Dummy, dang, he just smiles all the time. No matter what they say or do, that guy just keeps smiling. And you looked at Cuomo when they were coming at him, you didn't smile the whole time.
Obviously, these rumors started swirling after Harry's quick stop to see Charles during the well-child visit. 5 minutes of awkward small talk, and suddenly the media's like, the frost is melting. Your guest said something powerful. People trust smiles. People connect with smiles. People reflect the energy they receive.
You see one guy winning and one guy not winning, makes you wonder. When you see when someone smiles, you smile back at them automatically. That's and your brain goes, oh, there's a smile. You can do it with pictures. You can do it with have somebody across the street smile, and you'll smile too. It's something automatic we do. Can't help it. It's subconscious. It just pops out. And when you smile, what we know from Paul Ekman's studies, he was one of the guys that first did the facial studies on the 7 universal facial expressions. And what he found out was that when you smile or whatever expression you make, that fires off stuff in your brain, to make a long story short, that makes you feel that emotion.
Yeah.
So if somebody's smiling at you and you start smiling back, they start feeling that emotion. So people who smile at people a lot, notice how many people like them, not just because they're smiling, but they think they're happy or whatever. It's because it's making them smile. So that emotion goes through this. There may be something to that. There are a couple of studies about that, but they're not very interesting, and they're not too deep yet. But Ekman's were the best ones so far. If anybody's into looking up studies on Ekman, Paul Ekman.
I feel like you're absolutely right. And when I hear you say that, it reminds me of just how damaging I feel like the first few years Harry and Meghan were in the United States were, because first impressions matter. And I felt like we saw the real Harry and Meghan, and they told us they were the real Harry and Meghan when they moved to the United States. And when Meghan is sitting in that chair with Oprah Winfrey, and when Meghan is sitting on that couch talking to Netflix, she's not as smiley and she's not as friendly. And I associate her with that. I don't associate her with the girl in the Netflix kitchen, in the rented kitchen for Netflix, smiling at her chef friends. It seems like they should have been privy to this a little bit sooner, and maybe we would have more of a, I mean, I guess in looking back, they have made a lot of mistakes, but being so negative in the first few years of their new life in the United States, it's cemented in my brain. And it's hard for me to accept this smiley new version of her because I don't believe that it's authentic.
Yeah, the first 6 to 9 seconds you see someone, that someone sees you. That's how they're going to remember you. That's how they lock in. Because they'll see somebody, they'll make a lot of decisions about you. There's a study that was done, and when you see someone in those first 6 to 9 seconds, they see that it's called the thin slices study. If anyone wants to look that up, and it was done at Harvard. And in that first 6 to 9 seconds, right there, you make up a backstory for that person. Your brain does. You may see that person and go, for the first time, say, "Oh, that person reminds me of somebody who was mean to me in high school. I don't think I liked them," even though you never talked to them. Creates that backstory for it, right? You may see somebody and go, oh, if you're giving a talk or something, you look down and down there, the people you're talking to, see somebody who looks like your sister. You go, oh, she looks like my sister. My sister's sweet and funny, and I'm probably gonna like her, or I like her. So your brain automatically sets itself up to like that person or dislike that person from that first 6 to 9 seconds. So you take someone like Harry and Meghan when they first come in, and you see them and they're not smiling for that first little while or wherever it was. That sort of sets you up. And now we see them smiling all the time, so we know there's a difference there. People who have followed the royals and there's a lot of them that understand the way that see the way they are now and saw the way they were before. They have that set up of I don't know. They don't look very happy. I'm not so sure I like them. They remind me of somebody who's sad. Then you see that one where they're smiling all the time. It's not like, oh, things have changed and they're happy now. They don't see it like that because they don't think about them all day long. They're not part of their lives. So they see them here, there, and they see them down here, and all of a sudden they're smiling from then on all these other spots they see them in. Then that's not the same as they know them as.
Mm,
So that's why they get the feeling it's
fake.
fake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the irony. Harry and Meghan didn't understand this until it was too late. They led with grievances. They led with accusations. They led with complaints. And even though they are trying to smile now, trying to look carefree and fun and unbothered, the public can't shake the memory of the first version they met. They are trying to rewrite the story. But the story is already written.
So Harry is booed at the game, according to headlines, but maybe not according to Scott Rouse. He's booed at this Dodgers game. Also, the Dodgers lose, and a lot of people are like, you guys are not a good luck charm. But then he announces that he's going to Canada. And Canadians are livid because they just lost the World Series and watched Harry sit there wearing a Dodgers cap. So all these headlines are circulating around that they don't want him to come to Canada. And they're mad at him because they have so much pride in their baseball team. And it felt like Harry was not loyal to his father's kingdom, his country. So Harry is kind of put on the spot about this during an interview in Canada. And I'd love to know your thoughts on whether this was an authentic moment or not. Let's take a look at
He
this.
was widely criticized across the country after being spotted at Dodgers Stadium sporting a Dodgers hat during the World Series.
I would like to apologize to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box or the dugout by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do. But I'm going to wear this from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those mistakes.
Do you have initial thoughts before I ask you anything off by watching that? What stands out to you?
That's prepared. That's prepared. I mean, because he got home and thought about that and said, "Oh Lord, what am I going to say? I got to talk to these Canadians." He may have talked to some people and said, "How do we approach this?" Or put in Chat GPT and said, "How you do something like that?" Then he's got to talk to somebody. I don't mean to offend anyone, but He's a little bit. How tall is Harry? He's like six what? 6'1"?
Yeah,
He's
he's
an inch
6'1".
tall. How tall is his dad?
His
You've seen his
dad,
dad. You've seen his dad. How tall is he? When you went,
when I met him last week, he was taller than I am, but I'm oh, he's taller than I am in heels. So he's taller than probably five
oh,
eight, five
okay,
maybe
let me
he's
ask you
5'8",
this. When you shook his hand, were you, because you're, how tall are you?
5'7", but I was wearing heels.
Okay, it's okay. So when you shook his hand, was it down here or was it way up here or was it right
It
here?
was low. It was low.
Okay, so he's not the tall, he's not as tall as Harry.
No,
Okay. Okay. How do you smell? Do you have any recognizable cologne on?
perfect, delicious,
Yeah.
perfect. Like he spelled expensive.
Oh, well, that's he should, I guess. He should. Anyway, back to this. So there's a lot going on there because he is in a situation where looked like he was for the other team, and now he's at the other teams, at the home team, and having to, that's why he says this thing about being bald because you have to
Self-deprecating.
self-deprecate,
Yeah.
yeah, and say that so you feel sorry for him, and he sort of does a little curtsy thing he does. So and he has to do a little bit more because the guy is smaller than him. So it's an odd juxtaposition of that guy that size he's having to apologize to and do all that because he's apologizing to a country as he's apologizing to this guy, which is what's happening. So that was set up there. I don't know about the hat. That seemed odd to me. I don't know why he'd have a hat there and have it, 'cause it seemed a little bit big to go on his head. But that's prepared. You would, somebody like that would prepare an answer like that. So I think he was ready to go.
Yeah. And again, telling us that he was invited to the game by the owner and it was the polite thing to do. Does he realize that he comes off as arrogant when he's taught, because we hear that and we go, oh, so you're bragging that you know the owner. Why does he not realize that that's maybe not the avenue to go? It's okay to say we were invited without those details, and we wanted to see history made. We're fans of both teams. We were invited by the owner. I was in duress, felt extreme.
Well, in a situation like that, you're going to say, listen, man, the guy who owned the place, if you're going to talk normal, you're going to say, I was there because the guy who owned the team said, hey, man, come down here and sit with us. My mom's sitting over here and we're doing that. And
Oh, so
come
you
down
think
here.
that was you think that that's just him being him?
No, no,
Oh,
he's adding that in because he wants everybody to know. He's
yeah.
adding everything that's shiny that goes along with this. He has to stick that on his chest for everybody to see. So look at those kind of things like jewelry, almost little diamonds you put on yourself to make you shine brighter. So he has to add everything he possibly can to that because remember, we're dealing with someone who's trying to stay relevant because he isn't anymore.
Mm,
Not that he was in the first place, but before everything changed, everybody liked the guy.
yeah.
So now we're seeing why they don't. But so all these little things he can talk about are little things he can put on that will make him shine brighter to other people for his ego. So
Yeah.
that's all that is, just shining himself up.
Yeah, so this is him like talking, trying to, again, when I think about this concept of Project Thaw and these two trying to work their way back to the royal family, probably wasn't, didn't reflect well on them that they were rooting for the other team. Uh, he tries to clear that up in this interview. Now I want to take you to this other interview with Hassan Minaj, and I truly am at a loss for.
And every time they get booed, every time they overplay a PR moment, every time they force a public appearance meant to prove we're still relevant, they remind people exactly why the rebrand isn't working. Because the smiles might be new, but the impression is old, and it's stuck. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.